Lacey is traumatized. You ruined our moment. Stay away from us until you apologize. That was the text my brother sent me. He was not asking if I was okay. He was not asking if the ambulance got there in time. He was angry that my injury had ruined his fiancée's mood. I looked at the nurse, sewing up the gash on my forehead. Then I looked at the phone. I did not argue. I did not ask how he could be so cruel. I typed one word. Done. Then I switched apps. I found the email chain from the title company, the one marked clear to close. It had the loan officer, the real estate agents, and the lawyers all copied on it. I did not write a long story. I just attached my emergency room discharge papers and hit reply all. To understand why I blew up the deal, you have to understand where the money came from. I am 32 years old, and my hands are a map of scar tissue. I work as a sous chef in one of the busiest kitchens in Portland. That $80,000 for the down payment was not just a number on a screen. It was 10 years of grease burns, missed holidays, varicose veins, and 16-hour shifts standing on hard rubber mats. Jared never had those scars. He was the prince. I was the wallet. 3 months ago, he brought Lacey to my apartment. She sat on my thrift store couch, wrinkling her nose at the smell of my work clothes, and pitched me their dream. She wanted an $800,000 custom build in the hills. She talked about natural light and content creation studios. The bank is being difficult, she said, waving a manicured hand. That was an understatement. Her credit score was a 580. She had more Sephora debt than income, but she had Jared wrapped around her finger, and Jared had Mom's dying wish wrapped around my neck. Take care of your brother, Kendra. He needs you. So I agreed. I signed as the guarantor. I emptied my savings for the down payment and the closing costs. For 3 months, I worked double shifts to cover the unexpected overages Lacey demanded, while I was sweating over a grill, scraping distinct layers of carbon off steel. My phone would buzz with Instagram notifications. There was Lacey, standing on the empty lot I paid for, holding a glass of champagne. The caption read, "Building our empire. Boss babe. New home." She never tagged me. She never thanked me. In fact, she treated me like an unpaid contractor. She would text me at midnight with demands like, "Transfer $5,000 for the marble upgrade." The granite looked cheap. I paid it. I kept my mouth shut. I thought I was honoring my mother. I thought I was buying my brother a future. I was just financing my own disrespect. The final walkthrough happened 48 hours before closing. The house was still a skeleton of raw ambition, exposed rebar, concrete dust, and the sharp smell of sawdust hanging in the humid air. I parked my 10-year-old sedan next to Lacey's leased Range Rover. Lacey was already filming. She held her phone up, panning across the unfinished porch, narrating to her invisible audience about custom finishes and manifesting dreams. Jared trailed behind her like a shadow, holding her purse. I walked up the temporary wooden steps, my boots thudding against the plywood. "Ugh," Lacey groaned, lowering her phone. She pointed a manicured nail toward the edge of the lot, where a rugged, gray box was mounted high on a utility pole. "Kendra, tell the builder to move that ugly thing. It is ruining the backdrop for my new home vlog intro." I glanced at the box. The red light blinked once. "It is a motion sensor lumber theft cam," I said, my voice flat. "Lumber prices are up. Thieves strike at night. It stays." Lacey rolled her eyes, turning her back to the lens. "Fine. Whatever. Nobody watches those gritty security feeds anyway." She led us to the back patio, a slab of curing concrete overlooking a muddy slope. She spun around, a bright, dangerous smile plastered on her face. "Okay, so here is the surprise." She clapped her hands. "I told the contractor to add the infinity pool package. It is only an extra $50,000. We can just roll it into the final loan amount, right?" My stomach dropped. "Lacey, the loan is maxed out. I already paid the overages for the marble and the smart glass. There is no $50,000. Then write a check." She shrugged, picking a piece of imaginary lint off her designer jacket. "You have savings." "That was my retirement," I said. The heat rose in my neck. That was everything. "I have $12 in my checking account until payday." The answer is no. The air between us snapped. Lacey's smile vanished. She took a step closer, invading my personal space. Her perfume, something expensive and floral, clotted in my throat. "Stop acting like a martyr, Kendra. It is pathetic." Her voice dropped to a hiss, low enough that Jared, standing 10 feet away, might miss the cruelty of it. But I heard every syllable. "Look at you," she sneered, gesturing vaguely at my work clothes, my messy bun, my tired face. "You are 32, you are single, and let us be honest, you are barren. No husband, no kids. What else are you going to do with your money? Take it to the grave?" I stood frozen. The cruelty was so precise, so calculated, it took my breath away. Buying this house for us is the only useful thing you will ever do, she finished. So stop whining and pay the bill. It is your duty. My duty? My voice shook. My duty was to my mother. She asked me to look after Jared, not finance a parasite. Lacey's eyes went wide. She screamed a sharp animal sound of rage. Do not you dare talk about her. She is dead because she exhausted herself. Just like you. She lunged. Her hands hit my chest with surprising force. It was not a stumble. It was a shove. My boots slipped on the loose gravel covering the concrete slab. My arms windmilled, grabbing at empty air. Gravity took over. I fell backward off the unfinished porch. The world spun blue sky, gray concrete, jagged metal. Crack. My shoulder hit a pile of construction debris, hardened cement blocks, and scrap rebar. A bolt of white-hot lightning exploded down my arm. My head slammed against the dirt, teeth rattling in my skull. For a moment, there was only the high-pitched whine of tinnitus. Then, the pain roared in. I gasped, trying to roll over, but my arm would not move. I looked up. Lacey stood on the ledge, looking down at me. For a split second, I saw pure terror in her eyes. Then, she blinked, and the mask slid back into place. Jared ran to the edge. Oh my God, Kendra! He started to climb down. Stop! Lacey grabbed his arm. Her grip was iron. She fell. Jared! She slipped. Look at her. She is fine. She is bleeding. Jared stammered, looking at the blood trickling into my eye. She is being dramatic, Lacey snapped, pulling him toward the car. We are leaving. If we stay, she will just make a scene and blame me. Get in the car. Jared looked at me, broken in the dirt, clutching my shoulder. Then he looked at Lacey. He lowered his head. He got in the car. I watched through a haze of dust and pain as the Range Rover's taillights faded down the driveway. The nurse taped the last piece of gauze over my eyebrow and walked out, leaving me alone with the hum of the ventilation system. For years, I told myself Jared was a hostage. I told myself he was trapped in Lacey's web, too weak to break free, just waiting for me to save him. That is why I paid the bills. That is why I took the insults. I was trying to buy his freedom, but as I sat there, smelling the antiseptic and dried blood, the truth settled in my chest, heavy and cold. Jared was not a hostage. He was the getaway driver. He saw me fall. He heard the crack of my shoulder hitting the concrete. And when Lacey told him to drive, he did not hesitate. He did not call 911. He did not circle back. He put the car in gear and left his sister bleeding in the dirt because he was more afraid of an argument with Lacey than he was of my death. He was not the victim. He was the accomplice. My phone buzzed again. This time, it was not a text. It was a notification from the title company's secure app. Transaction confirmed. Wire transfer received. $40,000. I stared at the screen. Lacey had done it. She had drained her secret savings account, the money she swore she did not have when I was paying for the marble, and wired it to escrow for the final closing costs. She had gone all in. She thought her little display of dominance at the construction site had worked. She thought I was cowed, silent, and ready to sign the papers tomorrow morning. She thought she had won. I looked down at the paperwork the doctor had dropped on my lap. Discharge instructions. The diagnosis was printed in bold, black ink. Concussion. Grade 3 AC joint separation. Lifting restriction. 0 pounds. Work status. Incapacitated. Estimated recovery. 6 months. I am a sous chef. If I cannot lift a pan, I cannot work. If I cannot work, I have no income. And in the world of mortgage lending, that is what they call a material adverse change. I opened the email draft I had started earlier, the one with the subject line, Urgent, Notification of Material Adverse Change. I snapped a photo of the medical report with my trembling hand and attached it. My thumbs hovered over the keys. I did not write a long, emotional diatribe about family betrayal. I did not mention the push or the insults. I kept it strictly business. To whom it may concern, as the guarantor for the loan on 420 Skyline Drive, I am legally obligated to inform you of a sudden change in my financial status. As of 4 o'clock this afternoon, I have been medically incapacitated and will have 0 income for the next 6 months. Please see the attached hospital discharge report. I cannot sign the closing documents tomorrow under penalty of mortgage fraud. Regards, Kendra. I looked at the two field, the loan officer, the real estate agents, the title company, and the underwriter. I hit send. The next morning was closing day. I woke up to the sound of my phone vibrating itself off the nightstand. It hit the floor with a thud, buzzing like an angry hornet. 42 missed calls. 20 from Jared. 22 from Lacey. I picked it up. The screen was a wall of frantic texts. Pick up the phone, Kendra. You cannot do this. The bank said no. Fix it. I ignored them all and opened the single notification from the title company. It was a formal letter, attached as a PDF. The language was dry, legal, and absolutely devastating. Notice of financing failure due to guarantor withdrawal. Pursuant to Section 4, Paragraph B, waiver of financing contingency. Buyer is in default. Seller elects to retain earnest money deposit of $40,000 as liquidated damages. I set the phone down. I took a sip of cold coffee. Lacey had waived the financing contingency yesterday. She was so sure I would sign that she removed the safety net to make her offer stronger. Now, the net was gone, and so was her $40,000. But parasites do not die quietly. They thrash. My phone pinged with a notification from Instagram. Lacey Styles is live. I clicked it. Lacey was sitting in the front seat of her Range Rover. Her mascara was running in black streaks down her cheeks. She was hyperventilating, clutching her stomach. I do not know why she hates us so much. She sobbed to the camera. 5,000 people were watching. My fiancé's sister. She has always been jealous. But yesterday, she paused for dramatic effect, wiping a tear. Yesterday, she attacked me at the construction site. She pushed me. She tried to. She knew I was pregnant. You guys! She tried to kill my baby! My blood ran cold. The comments rolled in. Oh my God. Sue her. What a monster. Call the police. We lost the house, Lacey wailed. She ruined our credit. She stole our deposit. We are staying in a Motel 6 because we gave notice on our apartment. We have nothing. Please, if anyone can help. A donation link popped up, pinned to the bottom of the chat. She was good. She was terrifyingly good. She had taken her own crime, flipped it, and was now using it to grift strangers while destroying my reputation. I closed the app. I did not comment. I did not report the video. I dialed Mike, the construction foreman. Hey, Kendra. His voice was gravelly. Heard about the mess. You okay? I need a favor, Mike. That motion sensor camera on the lumber pile. Does it record audio? High-def video and audio. Cloud storage. Catches license plates at 50 yards. Send me the clip from yesterday. 4:15 p.m. Already pulled it, Mike said grimly. I saw what she did. Check your inbox. The email arrived 10 seconds later. I opened the file. The angle was perfect. It showed the unfinished porch. It showed Lacey cornering me. It picked up every word of her insults. Buying this house is the only useful thing you will ever do. It showed the shove. It showed me falling. It showed Lacey grabbing Jared's arm and dragging him away, while I lay motionless in the dirt. I forwarded the file to the detective who had taken my statement at the hospital. I added one line. Evidence for case number 49201. Assault and filing a false report. 2 hours later, a friend sent me a new video. It was filmed from a cell phone in the parking lot of the Motel 6 off the interstate. It showed Lacey in handcuffs, screaming at a police officer that she was an influencer. It showed Jared standing by the door of room 104, holding a bag of takeout, watching her get shoved into the back of a squad car. He did not run to help her. He did not argue with the cops. He just watched. 3 weeks later, the silence in my new apartment was so thick I could almost taste it. It was not an $800,000 glass box in the hills. It was a 400-square-foot studio above a bakery in the Pearl District. The floorboards creaked, the radiator hissed, and the view was a brick wall. It was perfect. I sat on a yoga mat, slowly rotating my shoulder. The movement was stiff, like a rusty hinge, but the sharp, blinding lightning was gone. The stitches in my forehead were out, leaving a jagged pink line that vanished into my hairline. My phone sat on the floor. I opened my banking app. Available balance, $82,400. The down payment, the closing costs, the emergency fund. It was all there. Every cent I had scraped off a grill for 10 years was back where it belonged. Lacey had not touched a dime of it. In fact, by losing her $40,000 deposit to the seller, she had effectively paid me back for every granite upgrade and sushi dinner she had extorted from me over the last 3 months. Karma is a forensic accountant. A notification popped up from my Ring app. Motion detected at front door. I tapped the screen. Jared was standing in the hallway. He looked like a ghost. His eyes were sunken, his designer jacket was wrinkled, and he had not shaved in days. He raised his fist and pounded on the wood. Kendra, his voice cracked through the tiny speaker. I know you are in there. Please. Lacey's bail is set at 10 grand. We do not have it. Mom would not want this. She would not want her in a cage. I watched him on the screen. the pixelated image of the brother I used to carry on my back. I did not get up. I did not unlock the deadbolt. I did not yell through the door. I pressed the microphone button on the app. "Mom is dead, Jared," I said softly. "And the ATM is out of order." "Kendra, please! She is pregnant!" "No," I said. "She is not." The detective confirmed that with her medical intake at the jail. "She is just a liar. And you are just alone." I severed the connection. Then I opened his contact card and hit block caller. I went to the stove and poured a cup of Earl Grey. The steam curled up in the quiet air. I took a sip. Silence had never sounded so expensive. The legal system moves slower than a wire transfer. But it hits just as hard. 6 months after the closing date that never happened. I sat in the back of courtroom 3B. I watched Lacey stand before Judge Mercer. She was not wearing designer sunglasses or holding a champagne flute. She was wearing an orange jumpsuit that clashed horribly with her complexion. There were no filters to hide the reality of her plea deal. The charges were aggravated assault and filing a false police report. The judge sentenced her to 18 months in the county correctional facility, followed by 3 years of supervised probation. The court also ordered restitution in the amount of $12,400 for my medical bills and lost wages. But the real sentence was not the jail time. It was the financial crater she had dug for herself, because the seller had legally retained her $40,000 deposit, and her legal fees had drained whatever credit she had left. Lacey Stiles entered custody with a net worth of negative $60,000. Her car was repossessed. Her brand was radioactive. As the bailiff led her away, she looked back at the gallery. She was not looking for me. She was looking for Jared. He was sitting 2 rows behind me, slumped in a cheap suit that hung off his frame. He looked at her, then he looked at the floor. He did not wave. He did not cry. He just sat there, waiting for permission to leave. That was the last time I saw either of them. 3 months later, a letter arrived at my bakery. The return address was a P.O. box in a town 40 miles south, where the rents are cheap and the motels accept cash. The handwriting was Jared's. I stood over the recycling bin in the back alley, the envelope heavy in my hand. I knew exactly what it said. It would be 3 pages of "I am sorry," followed by 2 pages of "She manipulated me," ending with a request for a small loan to get back on his feet. It was the classic enabler's anthem. I was a victim too. I did not open it. I did not tear it up in a rage. I did not burn it in a cinematic fire. I just dropped it into the blue bin, right on top of a stack of old flour sacks. Then I went back inside to prep the sourdough. That evening, my apartment was not quiet. It was full of noise. Real noise. My friend Sarah was chopping vegetables at the counter. Mike, the foreman who gave me the footage, was trying to fix my leaky faucet while telling a terrible joke. There was wine on the table and music coming from the speaker. These people did not share my DNA. They did not have my last name. But when I fell, Mike sent me the evidence. When I could not work, Sarah brought me groceries and did not ask for a dime. I looked around the room, at the steam rising from the pot and the faces of people who loved me for me, not for what I could buy them. This brings me to the hard truth I need to share with you. If you are watching this, and you felt a spike of rage when Jared watched me bleed, I need you to listen closely. We often focus our anger on the villain, the Lacey, in our lives, who pushes, takes, and destroys. But the villain is easy to spot. The villain holds the weapon. The dangerous person is the enabler. For 10 years, I told myself Jared was weak. I told myself he was a helpless passenger in Lacey's car. I paid his bills because I thought I was protecting him. I was wrong. Jared was not a passenger. He was the getaway driver. He did not push me off that porch, but he watched it happen, and then he drove the attacker to safety. He prioritized his comfort over my survival. He prioritized his access to her lifestyle over his loyalty to my life. We stay in these toxic family dynamics because of the sunk cost fallacy. We look at the years, the tears, and the money we have invested, and we think, if I just pay a little more, if I just forgive one more time, they will finally love me back. You are not paying for love. You are paying for a front row seat to your own disrespect. So, here are the 3 rules I live by now. I bought them with a dislocated shoulder and a scar on my forehead, so you can have them for free. Rule number 1. Access is a privilege, not a DNA. Right. Sharing a bloodline does not grant anyone immunity from consequences. If a stranger treated you the way your family treats you, you would call the police. Stop giving family a pass for behavior you would not tolerate from an enemy. Rule number 2. The enabler is an accomplice. If someone stands silent while you are being abused, they have chosen a side. Their silence is not neutrality. Their silence is consent. Stop trying to rescue people who are comfortable watching you drown. Rule number 3. Financial boundaries are emotional boundaries. Never sign a contract for someone who would not bleed for you. Money is simply energy made visible. If they demand your money but despise your energy, close the wallet. I am Kendra. I have a scar on my head, a rented apartment, and a heart that is lighter than it has been in a decade. Who in your life is holding the match while asking you to keep them warm? Do not wait for them to push you. Walk away.